Naruto came home from the Valley of the End with a hole through his chest. He had reached one conclusion: Sasuke had been faster, and I think that's exactly where this version of Naruto would get himself into trouble. He already knew a Leaf Shinobi who could tear speed out of his own body. The problem was getting Might Guy to teach him, and surviving long enough for Tsunade to find out. Hey, Araragi here. If you enjoy following one change until the whole story starts slipping sideways, leave a like, subscribe, and settle in. Naruto is awake. Tsunade is changing his bandages, and he has just seen Lee walk past the door. The scar from Sasuke's Chidori was still pink. Tsunade pressed 2 fingers beside it and watched Naruto try to hide a flinch. Sakura stood near the window with a stack of clean gauze. Lee had come to visit the retrieval team. Guy waited in the hall, loud enough to be heard through a closed door and somehow polite enough to remain outside. Naruto looked at Lee's legs, then he looked at the scar.
Bushy brow, get your teacher. I need him to show me how you moved against Gaara.
Naruto, the movement you saw required the inner gates. It also destroyed my body.
Your body came back.
Barely. Lie down.
Sasuke left because I couldn't catch him. I can lie down after I fix that.
Tsunade's hand closed on his shoulder and put him flat without effort. Guy came through the door. His smile lasted until he saw where Naruto was, looking.
Lee spent years teaching every bone and muscle in his body to survive that speed.
Good. I can start today.
You may start by walking to the end of this hall after Lady Tsunade releases you.
That's walking.
Every run begins with the first step.
Lee, you're encouraging the wrong part.
Guy offered one condition. When Tsunade cleared Naruto, he could join the morning conditioning Lee was already doing. No gates, no reverse lotus. Naruto would learn how his feet landed before he asked his heart to beat faster. Naruto agreed so quickly that Tsunade knew he had heard only the word join. His first morning began 3 weeks later. Lee ran with a smooth, punishing stride. Naruto tried to pass him on the first hill, caught a root, and opened his chin on a stone. He passed him on the second hill. Then his left calf cramped so hard that he rolled into a drainage ditch. Guy pulled him out by the jacket. By the end of the month, Naruto could keep Lee in sight. By the end of the second, he could copy the first movement used to open the gate of opening, though Guy refused to let him finish it. Naruto kept finding the edge anyway. A torn shoulder on Monday, strained ligaments on Thursday, the same calf again on Sunday. Tsunade became tired of seeing him in the hospital. She showed Naruto how to direct a thin current of medical chakra into his own damaged muscle. The exercise was supposed to teach him where the injury began and force him to stop before making it worse. Sakura sat across from him and healed a cut on a fish with a steady green glow. Naruto's fish jumped off the table.
You gave it enough chakra to kick through the tray.
So it worked.
The patient is on the floor. Smaller current. Find the torn fibers. Keep the chakra there.
I hate it when the answer is smaller.
Sakura hid a smile and picked up the fish. Naruto couldn't heal anybody else. He had no eye for diagnosis and little patience for the careful sequence Tsunade required. His own body was easier. He knew where it hurt. His chakra had one destination, and he had enough of it to keep trying after Sakura packed up for the night. The current became steadier. Guy let him open the first gate, then the second. 6 months after the valley, Naruto stood in Training Ground 3 with his hands, wrapped in his jacket hanging from a branch. He had spent the morning trading kicks with Lee. Guy had drawn a line in the dirt and told Naruto to cross it with the speed from the second gate, stop, and report what his right knee felt like. Naruto crossed the line. He didn't stop. Lee saw the change first. Naruto's skin reddened. The veins at his temples rose. He had pushed past the gate of rest and reached for the third.
Naruto, release it now!
One more post.
The third gate threw him across the field. His first kick broke the practice post. The second missed because the power had pulled his hip farther than he expected. Naruto corrected in the air and reached deeper. The gate of pain opened. Muscle split along his left thigh. His shoulder began to tear where the valley wound had shortened his reach. The pain was clean and immediate. Naruto bit his thumb, formed the sign Tsunade had drilled into him, and fed medical chakra through both injuries. Green paths spread under the red skin. The torn fibers pulled together while his leg was still driving forward. Naruto hit the last post hard enough to rip it from the ground. He landed 20 feet beyond it, took 2 steps, and folded. Lee reached him first. Guy reached him before his face touched the dirt. Tsunade arrived with Sakura less than 10 minutes later. She found Naruto awake, smiling at the broken post, and unable to uncurl his left hand. The broken post received no praise.
Release the medical chakra.
The leg's still fixing itself.
I said release it.
The green light vanished. Naruto's thigh remained whole. The skin was hot, enough to steam against Tsunade's palm.
You opened a gate I had forbidden.
The post broke first.
That does not make this a victory!
How fast was I?
Lee looked at Guy. Guy looked at Tsunade.
Those cells divided to close the tear. They only get so many divisions. You spent some of them on a practice post.
But I could still move.
And your hand won't stop shaking. Healing closed the tear. It didn't return the chakra or switch off the pain.
You were out of control before you reached the post.
Naruto finally looked away from the post. Tsunade checked his pulse again. It was settling, too slowly for her liking, yet it was settling. She made him describe every place that hurt. Naruto began with the thigh and shoulder. Lee pointed out that Naruto had landed on the outside of his right foot. Tsunade pressed the ankle. Naruto nearly kicked her with the other leg. There was damage the green current had missed because Naruto had never felt it through the gate. Sakura marked each injury on the chart. Naruto watched the page fill. The broken post stood at the far end of the field, impressive and suddenly very small. The technique existed now. Refusing to speak about it would leave Naruto to repeat it alone. Guy sat in the dirt across from him. He explained the next rule without raising his voice. Naruto would open only the gate named before each attempt. If Guy said release, he released. If Tsunade held up one finger, training's ended for the day. Naruto asked what happened if he broke the rule. Guy pointed to Lee.
My student still carries the cost of 1 day when I allowed him to continue.
Lee held Naruto's gaze. There was no anger in it. That made the warning harder to throw away. Naruto agreed. He spent the next year and a half learning how difficult agreement could be. Opening the gates was only half the work. He had to strike without wasting, the extra movement, keep the repair current on a torn muscle, while the rest of his chakra ran wild, and release both techniques before his own confidence became the loudest thing in the field. Sakura learned to treat other bodies. Naruto learned one brutal trick on his own. Lee beat him in footwork almost every morning. Naruto returned after injuries that would have ended Lee's week. Lee responded by changing drills before Naruto could grow comfortable. Neji and Tenten were dragged into enough of those sessions that Team Guy began treating every copied pattern as something to abandon on the next exchange. Naruto mastered the 5th gate near the end of the 2nd year. Guy showed him the path to the 6th once, under Tsunade's eye, beside a pond, with 3 medical teams waiting. Naruto opened it for less than a breath. The air around his fist caught fire. The repair current broke apart immediately. He woke the next afternoon. The Gate of Joy became an emergency he knew how to reach and had never safely held. Jiraiya took him out of Konoha for the final year. He had already lost enough travel time to complain for an entire week.
I planned hot springs, mountain roads, and serious training. Somehow Guy turned the kid into a medical emergency with sandals.
You're jealous because I can kick faster than you.
I'm worried the fox gets a turn when you're too tired to keep it down.
Then I'll finish before that.
Every bad plan you've ever had fits inside that sentence.
The journey taught Naruto to use the lower gates on roads that moved under him, against enemies who lied, and around civilians who did not know where to stand. Jiraiya made him practice stopping almost as often as striking. On their 3rd month away, a washed-out road gave Naruto the lesson Jiraiya had been waiting for. A merchant's wagon slipped from the path with a family still inside. Naruto opened the 3rd gate, caught the rear axle, and drove both feet into the mud. He stopped the wagon. His own momentum kept going. The axle tore loose. The wagon swung toward the cliff edge, and Jiraiya's hair caught it before the front wheel left the road. Naruto stood ankle-deep in mud with the broken axle in his hands.
Catching it was half the job.
The wagon stopped.
After I caught what you did to it.
Jiraiya made him repair the road before they left. Naruto used no clones. The blisters on his hands had to stay long enough for him to remember them. After that, every gate drill ended at a person, doorway, or bowl of water. Naruto was forbidden to knock over. Speed remained the fun part. Stopping began to look like skill. When Naruto returned to Konoha, he was taller. His voice had settled. His patience had not. Naruto entered through Konoha's gate expecting the village to wait for him. It didn't. A delivery cart blocked half the road. Izumo wanted the travel papers Jiraiya had buried somewhere beneath 3 unfinished manuscripts. A dog lifted one leg against Naruto's pack. Home, basically. Sakura found him arguing with the dog. She had grown her hair out again. The gloves were new. Naruto noticed the confidence in her stance a second before she hit him for asking whether Tsunade had taught her any useful techniques. Naruto caught himself against the gate instead of crossing the street. Sakura looked at the mark his sandal left in the wood.
You learned how to stop.
I could always stop.
The wall outside your hospital room disagrees.
That wall was in a bad place.
Kakashi arrived late enough to be Kakashi and early enough to inspect the cracked gate before Naruto moved his foot.
I see Guy taught you brakes.
Wanna see the fast part?
After the mission desk confirms you're still assigned to me.
The old rhythm returned easily. Naruto complained. Sakura told him to carry his own bag. Kakashi opened his book. The message hawk reached the Hokage Tower before they did. Tsunade's summons pulled every joke out of the room. A sand shinobi had collapsed after delivering the request. The seal on his message belonged to the Kazekage. Gaara had fought an Akatsuki member above his village. He had protected the sand from a large explosive and been taken when his defense moved away from himself. Naruto read the line twice. He remembered Gaara standing on the stadium roof, speaking about love as if it were a wound. Then he remembered the quiet young man who had come to Konoha during the retrieval mission and trusted Lee with Kimimaro. Tsunade assigned Kakashi, Sakura, and Naruto before he could ask.
You leave within the hour. The sand requested a medic. Sakura has final say over any patient you find.
We'll bring Gaara back.
Bring your team back with him.
Naruto met her eyes. He heard the part she had left unsaid. The journey home had lasted less than an afternoon. Gaara's fight with Deidara happened as it had before. The Kazekage fought above his village and crushed one of Deidara's arms. Then he used the opening he had earned to protect everybody below him. Deidara used that choice to capture him. Naruto had been home for a few days when the Sand's message reached Tsunade. The reunion with Sakura and Kakashi ended there. No second bell test, no long walk through old jokes. Gaara had been taken by Akatsuki, and Naruto was out the door before Tsunade finished naming the team. They reached the sand after Kankuro's failed pursuit. The poison had spread from his chest into his arms. His breathing came in short pulls. Sand medics had slowed it without identifying Sasori's mixture. Naruto saw the dark lines under Kankuro's skin and moved to the bed. Green chakra had already gathered around his hand. Sakura caught his wrist.
Don't touch him.
I can close the damage while you find the poison.
Your technique floods your own cells. Do that here, and you could feed the poison into every place it hasn't reached.
Gaara's out there.
Then let me work.
Naruto's hand stayed closed for another second. Then the green light went out. Sakura took the bed. She asked for clean water, 2 bowls, and every herb the sand medics had used. Her voice left no room for argument. Chio watched from the other side of the room, skeptical until Sakura drew the first bead of poison through a cut no wider than a fingernail. Naruto stood where Sakura had put him. He watched the dark color leave Kankuro's arm. He watched Sakura prepare an antidote from the sample. The process was slow because bodies did not care about the clock Naruto had brought into the room. Kankuro's breathing eased. Sakura wiped her forehead with her sleeve.
He'll live. I need the antidote formula copied before we leave.
Thanks, Sakura.
She glanced at him. He had said it without a joke or complaint.
You can thank me by carrying the medical pack and keeping your hands out of it.
I touched one thing.
And you almost pushed the poison deeper.
Naruto sat beside Kankuro while the copies were prepared. He could hear the sand shinobi moving in the hall and the scratch of Sakura's brush behind him. For a few minutes, there was nothing he could hit. Then Kankuro's fingers moved against the blanket. Naruto stood. Team Kakashi left with Chiyo. Team Guy was already closing in from a different path. Naruto used the first gate to keep a hard pace without forcing Sakura or Chiyo to chase him. Kakashi noticed the restraint and said nothing. Itachi waited on a dry riverbed. Naruto knew the face before the figure finished turning. His body moved at the same instant. The second gate opened beneath his ribs. A third followed before Kakashi called his name. Naruto crossed half the riverbed. Itachi raised one finger. The bank vanished. Naruto found himself standing in the valley of the end. Sasuke waited on the other side of the water with his back turned. Naruto opened another gate and ran. The distance stayed the same. Sasuke looked over his shoulder. His face became Gaara's. Sand poured from his mouth. Kankuro lay beneath the water. Sakura called Naruto's name from somewhere he could not see. Naruto activated Mitotic Regeneration. Green chakra ran through a body with no torn muscle. Nothing changed. Outside the illusion, Naruto had stopped 6 feet from Itachi. His fist was raised. The repair current flickered across his arm while Itachi watched it.
There is nothing to heal.
Kakashi broke Naruto's sightline. Sakura drove a controlled pulse through his network from behind. The riverbed returned. Naruto stumbled backward and nearly struck her.
Naruto, look at me. How many fingers?
2. Move!
You moved before you knew what he was doing.
He was in the way.
He still is.
And we just lost a minute pulling you back.
Naruto looked past Kakashi. Itachi had not advanced. The copy wanted the delay. Every angry charge gave it exactly what it needed.
Fine. Tell me when you have an opening.
Wait for 2.
I hate waiting.
We know.
Kakashi moved first. His earth wall cut the riverbed and forced Itachi's copy onto the narrow strip Sakura had left clear. Sakura broke the ground beneath its rear foot. Naruto counted. 1. Itachi shifted his weight. 2. The 5th gate opened. Naruto hit the copy from outside its sightline. The first punch folded its guard. The second drove it through Kakashi's wall. Itachi's body split into crows. Naruto closed his eyes instead of chasing them. Sakura had broken the riverbed in one place. Kakashi's wall left one dry landing behind it. Naruto listened for the foot that touched stone. The sound came from his right. He turned with a shadow clone already beside him. The clone held the shape, while Naruto drove chakra into it. Itachi appeared from the crows with a kunai at Naruto's neck. Kakashi's hand caught the wrist. Sakura's fist broke the ground behind them and removed the last retreat. Naruto's giant Rasengan ended the borrowed body before it could rebuild the illusion. The borrowed face dissolved and left another man's corpse in the mud. Naruto released the gate. His right hand shook once. He closed it around his own wrist until it stopped. The team left the victory alone. Kakashi checked the corpse. Sakura watched Naruto's hand. Chiyo watched all 3 of them. The team drank water, took 4 steady breaths, and moved. On the other route, Gi recognized Kisami's water prison before Lee, Neji, and Tenten lost the ground beneath them. He opened the 6th gate as soon as the copy isolated him. Morning Peacock burned through the water and ended the body while it still had chakra to spend. The 2 teams reached the Akatsuki cave with minutes the original rescue had lost. The 5 seal barrier still demanded 5 bodies in 5 places. Team Guy scattered through the cliffs. Kakashi, Sakura, Naruto, and Chiyo waited at the stone door, while every breath behind it belonged to Gaara. The seals tore free together. 4 replicas rose in front of Team Guy. Lee recognized his own stance and remembered years of Naruto returning to the same drill with a different answer. A copy held the person he had been when the seal came off. It could not hold the person he became on the next attack.
They copied us when the seals came off! Change the next attack!
Excellently. Show him your next move.
The answer sounded ridiculous across the radio. It worked. Lee abandoned the combination the copy had mirrored. Neji changed range. Tenten changed weapons. Guy drove his replica away from the water and ended it with one clean kick. Kakashi felt the barrier fall. Sakura broke the stone. Inside, the Akatsuki figures around the statue still had their hands raised. The ceiling current stretched from Gaara into the open mouth above him. His chest had stopped moving so slowly that Naruto saw nothing at first. The projected figures vanished one after another. The current snapped. Deidara dropped beside Gaara. Sasori's tail rose from Hirako. Naruto landed by the stone slab before Kakashi could catch his jacket. He put 2 fingers beneath Gaara's nose. Warm air touched them. Very little. Enough. Naruto's shoulders dropped by an inch. Kakashi landed beside him and saw the thin movement in Gaara's throat. Chiyo's face changed when she saw it. She had spent the entire journey preparing herself to arrive too late. The living breath gave her a different job. She reached for Gaara. The ceiling statue cracked behind them. Deidara's clay bird burst from the cave wall. Its beak closed around Gaara's robe and dragged him into the daylight. Sasori's iron tail struck across the opening. Sakura caught it with both hands and drove her heel into the floor.
He's alive!
Then go get him! We've got this!
Don't get hit by the poison!
You first!
Kakashi followed Naruto through the broken wall. Behind them, Sakura released the metal tail, ducked the return strike, and put one fist through Hiruko's shell. Chiyo's chakra threads caught her arms, before the poison needles did. Sasori shed the broken shell, and brought out the third Kaze Kage. Iron sand filled the cave. Sakura could read the first volleys because Chiyo moved her, with chakra threads. By the fourth, Sakura was moving before the old woman's fingers pulled. One poison blade cut her sleeve. Another crossed her cheek without opening the skin.
Granny Chiyo, give me the left side! I can break the puppet if you keep the needles off my back.
Chiyo's threads shifted. Sakura drove through the iron sand and shattered the third Kazekage with one punch. Sasori answered with 100 puppets. That battle still belonged to Sakura and Chiyo. The antidote, Tsunade's training, and Chiyo's knowledge carried them through it. The difference was the body leaving the cave. Gaara was breathing. Deidara flew low through the canyon because high air made Gaara harder to secure with one arm. The clay bird cut between stone pillars, climbing when Naruto gained ground and dropping bombs whenever Kakashi began focusing his eye. Naruto opened the second gate. He ran along the canyon wall until it ended, crossed the gap on a falling slab, and reached for the bird. Deidara rolled it sideways. Naruto missed Gaara's sleeve by a hand. Clay insects covered the next pillar. Naruto saw them late. The blast tore open his shoulder and drove a chip of stone into his thigh. He activated the repair technique before he landed. Green chakra closed the shoulder. His thigh pushed the stone out as new tissue formed beneath it. Naruto hit the ground running with blood still warm inside his sandal. Kakashi caught up on the lower ridge.
Stop chasing the tail.
Gaara is on the tail!
Deidara knows. Every time you reach for Gaara, he gets to choose where you land.
What opening do you need?
Keep the bird level for 3 seconds. I take the wing, you take Gaara.
3 seconds is long!
You're the fast one.
Naruto grinned despite the blood on his teeth. He created 4 shadow clones. 2 ran high, 1 dropped below the bird. The last stayed beside him. Deidara climbed away from the high pair and aimed a clay spider at the one below. Naruto wanted the reaction. His last clone threw him from the cliff. Naruto opened the 4th gate in the air. He hit the bird from above with both heels. The clay wing bent. Deidara corrected. Naruto struck it again from the other side before gravity took him. The bird leveled. Kakashi's Mangekyo turned. Space twisted around Deidara's remaining arm. The bomber ripped himself sideways. The arm disappeared. The bird dropped through the canyon with Gaara still caught in its beak. Naruto landed on a cliff face, tore through the stone with his sandals, and looked down. He could reach them with the 5th gate. He opened it. The world tightened around one falling shape. Naruto ran straight down the cliff, pushed off, and struck the bird's neck. Clay split. Deidara kicked Gaara free before Naruto could take him. A clay centipede wrapped around Gaara's robe as he fell and pulled him toward another bird, forming below. Naruto changed direction too late. His knee tore. The repair current closed it. His calf tore on the next step. Green chakra followed. pain stacked under every movement, each fresh signal, arriving before the last one faded. The second bird caught Gaara. Deidara had lost both arms and still controlled the fight because Naruto had only one thing he refused to let fall. The canyon opened ahead. Beyond it lay empty sky. Naruto knew what the fifth gate could do. It would keep him near the bird until the ground ended. He knew where the sixth waited. Guy had taught him the path once beside a pond. The warning came back in Guy's real voice. The gate of joy would drive heat through every muscle at once. Naruto's repair current might hold one section. It could not answer the whole body with the control he had then. He had more control now. Gaara reached the edge of the canyon. Naruto opened the sixth gate. The air burst from him in a green wave. His first step split the rock. His second left the cliff. Muscle tore across his back and legs at once. Naruto drove medical chakra through the largest breaks. Green lines crossed red skin. Smaller tears remained open. There were too many to hold. He caught the new bird over empty air. Deidara sent clay birds at his face. Naruto's fists moved fast enough to set the air burning. Morning peacock filled the sky between them. The small bombs detonated before reaching his body. The barrage drove Deidara away from Gaara. Naruto put one hand on the clay beak and pulled. His fingers stopped closing. The repair current had spent too much chakra on his legs. His right hand shook against the clay. Deidara saw it and formed one last mouth in the bird's neck. Naruto drove his forehead into the beak. The clay cracked. He pulled Gaara free with his left arm. For the first time since the cave opened, Gaara's weight belonged to somebody trying to bring him home. Naruto began to fall. Deidara dropped away on a tiny clay bird. A larger copy remained above Naruto and Gaara. Its body swelled.
Naruto, behind you.
I know! Take the center!
Naruto could spend the last of the sixth gate chasing Deidara. He had the speed for one direction. Gaara's head rested against his shoulder. One breath touched Naruto's neck, weak enough to miss if he moved. Naruto turned toward the canyon. The exploding copy split open behind them. Kakashi focused Kamui on its center. Half the blast folded into the warped pet's space. The rest chased Naruto as a wall of heat. Naruto ran across falling debris. His ankle broke on the first landing and repaired before the second. Blood filled his right eye. His back stopped answering evenly. He held Gaara against his chest and kept the blast on his own side. The repair current chose the largest injuries because Naruto could no longer guide every path. His ankle closed crooked and broke again on the next step. The second repair straightened it. His shoulder began to close around a splinter of clay. Naruto tore the piece free with his teeth and kept moving. Gaara's breathing faltered against him. Naruto counted the next breath instead of the distance. The canyon wall came close. Naruto drove both feet into it. The gate released. His repaired legs stopped together. He fell the last 12 feet with Gaara held above him and hit the sand on his back. Heat passed over the canyon. For a while, Naruto heard only a high ringing. He rolled Gaara beside him. His right hand would not stay still. He trapped it under his left wrist and placed 2 fingers below Gaara's nose. Nothing. Naruto waited. A breath touched his skin, then another. Kakashi reached them and knelt. His Sharingan closed. He looked older than he had at the cave.
He's breathing.
Keep him warm. I'll signal the others.
Deidara got away.
Gaara didn't.
Naruto looked down at the Kazekage. His hand shook against Gaara's collar. He left it there. Back at the cave, Sakura and Chiyo reached the last exchange with Sasori. Their earlier entry had changed none of his poison or puppets. Sakura broke the third Kazekage and survived the blade meant for Chiyo. Sasori died between the puppets shaped like his parents. Chiyo emerged wounded and exhausted. She found a living Gaara. The transfer technique she had prepared stayed inside her hands. The sand carried its Kazekage home before sunset. Naruto slept through the gate's opening. He woke in the same hospital as Kankuro, with both legs bandaged and his right hand resting beneath a weighted cloth to hide the tremor. Sakura had cleaned the blood from his face. She had also written "Do not open anything" across his bandages. Naruto was trying to peel the note away when a medic ran past the door and called for Sakura. Gaara was awake. Naruto reached the next room before the medic. He had taken 3 steps on the bandaged legs when Sakura caught him under the arm.
The bed has wheels for a reason.
My legs work.
Badly.
They entered together. Temari stood near the wall. Kankuro was awake in a chair, pale and wrapped in blankets. Chiyo sat beside him with one arm in a sling. Gaara looked smaller without the Kazekage robes. His eyes moved from Sakura to Naruto's bandages, then to the weighted cloth around Naruto's hand.
You look worse than I do.
You should see the bird.
Did you win?
You're here.
Gaara glanced toward the window. Outside, hundreds of sand shinobi filled the open square below. They had been waiting for his eyes to open.
Then, we won.
Naruto smiled and sat before Sakura could make him. The room stayed quiet after that. Kankuro lifted 2 fingers from beneath his blanket. Naruto returned the sign with his steady hand. Chiyo watched Gaara look outside at his village. The jutsu that would have killed her had no patient. The courtyard had learned he was awake. A low murmur reached the window, then grew as more shinobi passed the word toward the village gates. Gaara pushed one palm against the mattress. Temari stepped forward. He shook his head and sat without help, though the effort drained what little color had returned to his face. Naruto started to stand with him. Sakura pushed Naruto back into the chair. Temari opened the window. The sand saw its Kazekage sitting up. The sound that entered the room was rough and badly organized. Gaara held still through it. His fingers tightened once in the blanket.
Your people are pretty loud.
You would know.
Naruto laughed. Gaara's mouth moved at one corner before he turned back to the window. The rescue finally had somewhere to stop. Lee found Naruto outside the room later with one leg stretched across a bench, and Sakura's warning still stuck to the bandage. Team Guy had returned from the cave. Dirt covered Lee from his collar to his sandals. He sat beside Naruto without mentioning the note.
Guy-sensei says you held the 6th gate for 20 seconds.
He counted?
Everyone who could see you counted.
I got Gaara.
Yes! Next time, allow us to catch up before you tear both legs apart!
Naruto looked through the open door at Gaara. Then he shifted enough to make room on the bench. Lee stayed there until Sakura came to change the bandages. Tsunade examined Naruto when Team Kakashi returned to Konoha. She removed the cloth from his right hand, held his wrist, and asked him to touch each finger to his thumb. The first 2 met, the third missed, the fourth shook hard enough to tap twice. Guy and Lee waited across the room. Sakura stood beside Tsunade with the mission notes. Kakashi leaned against the wall, pretending the book in his hand was open to the right page.
How long did you hold the 6th?
Long enough.
Give me a number.
About 20 seconds after contact. Longer if we count the fall.
Traitor.
Medical accuracy.
Tsunade pressed a point below Naruto's elbow. His fingers jerked.
The muscle closed. Your nerves are still firing, your chakra pathways are inflamed, and your heart ran far past a safe rhythm. Every second left damage.
Gaara's alive.
I know.
You opened the 6th for Gaara. Once you had him, you came back.
And your hand is still shaking!
It'll stop.
It will. You're resting until it does. Now let me finish.
Naruto groaned and offered her the other hand. The rescue had worked. Gaara lived. Chiyo lived. Akatsuki had lost a Jinchuriki after spending days on the extraction, and Itachi's copy had seen exactly how Naruto repaired himself. Lee returned to training with a new target. Sakura returned with Sasure's information and the knowledge that Naruto's body could survive injuries her patients never should, and Naruto returned with the 6th gate inside reach. He had also learned what it felt like to have one direction left. Soon Sasori's information would lead Team 7 toward Orochimaru. Sasuke would be standing at the end of that road, faster and farther away than he had been at the valley. Would Naruto stop at the 6th gate when the person in front of him was Sasuke? Tell me where you think he draws that line. And if you want to follow this version of Naruto when Team 7 finally reaches Orochimaru's hideout, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next story.